lot of people, But what I often say about the entertainment business is that, the students and things like that people don't understand is that it's just like any other business. Don't get caught up in the hype because most of the celebrities are not your friends. They want their money, win, lose, or draw, and that's the way that it is. So with that, you have to make sure that your numbers. The most important thing I learned is stick to your budget. If you have a $50,000 budget, don't spend $52,000. It is what it is. Make the numbers work with what you have. Adjust your ticket prices accordingly so you can make sure that you have the opportunity to make money. Because losses will come in this business just like any other business. I don't care whether you're selling toothpicks, pistols, or Charlie Wilson tickets. It's all the same. You have to come down to budget. What's your insurance cost you? What's your transportation cost you? What's the microphones cost you? What's the food cost you? So, you stick to your budget and go from there, because, a lot of people just, they're fans of people and music as opposed to being fans of the numbers. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the numbers, period, point blank, 100% every time. Stick to the numbers, and that goes to any business.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You have to stick to the numbers, and you have to be sure to make sure those numbers are all adding up and put in place, and that you have even like backup and contingency plans, because sometimes expenses will happen that you didn't know about. I remember one time even at Centerfest, there was some people that had put out the sound, and then the sound, over the weekend. I think the Centerfest is a Saturday, Sunday event, and I think it was on a Saturday night, and this was several years back. The sound system grew wings, and it disappeared. So I remember as just somebody involved in the planning, having to run around, and I actually got in touch with, I believe it was Bobby Hinton, who at that time that I got in touch with. I know in other cases I've reached out to Brett and other people, but, I had to find somebody to replace that equipment that had been gone. I don't even know to this day if they ever recovered it. I know that there was insurance and things of that nature, so, there was definitely some recouping of losses, but, that's a 2-day festival, so something happened, and we had to find a substitute plan or a backup plan, and like I said, that was probably several years back. That might have been almost 15, 20 years ago, if not longer, but I imagine that there's been incidences like that where there were expenses that you were not expecting, that you also had to come up with a contingency plan or something that an expense that you weren't expecting.
Oh, yeah, definitely, and that happens all the time, So you definitely, a part of your budget, you better have some miscellaneous in there, because the miscellaneous are coming. And when you do win, make sure you save for a rainy day. Don't spend it all, because people love to count your wins, but they don't like to count your losses. They have no idea, they don't care about those. So
right.
I always say, don't count my wins without my losses. I've won big and I've lost big. It happens all the time. So just be flexible and, run the business. I can't say it enough. I don't care if it's a restaurant or a show business. You better have some reserves, and you better be prepared for the unexpected, because the unexpected is 100% coming. Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I don't know that even people that are long-time veterans understand. I've had this conversation even with, like, long-time musicians, long-time jazz musicians, long-time blues musicians, even long-time R&B musicians. You just used the term show business. And I know a lot of people get the show part down pat. They know show left and right. They can give you a show all day long. But a lot of them, for whatever reasons, don't always have the business aspect. And I'm imagining even on the national level and the international level, you probably find some people that you are surprised about that they don't necessarily have the business acumen that you would expect them to have based on how long they've been in the business. Because even in our local scene, I've been surprised at some people that don't necessarily have the acumen that you would expect.
Absolutely. And, I used to get disappointed by that. Now it's just part of the, not just part of the game. Had instances, and I will not call names, but it's 100% true. By contract, I was, paying for the hotel room, one-night hotels, taxes, room and taxes only. A couple cats didn't even have a credit card to check in and pay for their own incidentals. Like, dude, you don't have a debit card, a credit card, or nothing. How are you functioning in life? Well, this artist has been around 15, 20 years. And it's happened more than once. So, yeah, so it's disappointing, but they speak knowledge through their music, and people buy it and go into it. But personally, It's sad to see, you know. It's sad to see.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the other thing that's part of life, and I know that I've had this conversation, Ray's probably shared it with you too. I know when he was at the Carolina Theater, one of his favorite quotes that he would always give was that people would come to him wanting to do concerts at that venue. Now, you know, one of the things is when you come to a venue, whether it's the DPAC, whether it's the Carolina Theater, whether it's Red Hat, or any of our other many venues here in this area, Cocoa Booth, they know that the Dome Group has got their act together and that they're going to come with a good show and everything of that nature. But Ray's favorite quote is that everybody's a promoter until it's time for them to actually cut a check. So like I said, when you come, they know that you're going to have the check and you're going to be ready. But I'm imagining that even among some of your competitors and some of the would-be promoters, that's something that you even run across, is people that claim that they want to be promoters or claim that they're in the promotion game but don't necessarily have any background in knowing how to run a show on any level.
Exactly. And that's one of the things, blessed to come from a unique situation that since I run a venue, I know what to expect, you know. So when I'm coming into your venue, you know, if I'm going to the Carolina Theater, the Cocoa Booth, or anywhere else, they know that I know what I'm doing. Because as a venue operator myself, I have to be very careful about who I rent my building to. So I get it when they complain. You know, when you go somewhere, you don't want to rent your facility out to someone who has no clue what they're doing. Because if it's a bad show or something doesn't go right, then they look at the venue. They don't know Joe Smoke, promoter who, you know, retired cop or, you know, a new drug dealer or whoever they may be, you know, think they can promote a show and have no idea how to do a budget, you know, how to make sure doors open on time. Well,
yeah, that's very true.
With us, they know. Yeah. They know what we're doing. They know they can't overcharge me for something because they know I know what I'm doing. You know, it's like, you know, I'm not trying to cut a corner, but I'm not going to let you charge me for something that I know is just a hidden charge for the hell of it. You know,
that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure people have tried all kinds of things with you. Now, what has been your own personal, I mean, like you said, you've been doing this now for a number of years. Like I said, you think you said close to 20 years. But what is your own personal favorite show? I mean, we're going to get to what you're doing with Art of School, and I thought that was a great one the first year. I wish I had got a chance to see more of it. But as you know from doing it, I just had this conversation with a friend of mine earlier, when you are at a venue, unfortunately, we don't get to go to as many shows as we would like to go to because we're busy with our own venues and our own stuff going on. So I know I would have liked to have seen more than I actually did, but what I did see, I enjoyed. But I was just wondering, in your own assessment, in the 20 years, is there like one or two shows that just set out to you that were your personal favorite?
That's a very good question. Yeah, well, I'm a hip-hop fan. I'm 46. I did an NWA reunion a couple years ago. I work with Ice Cube all the time. Great guy, know him personally. But for some reason, that day was just special. You know, I'm a West Coast guy, so they had Ice Cube, Too Short, and this other on the show. That was a really good one. I really miss working with Tina Marie. And she was, you know, she was always so cool and could sing, and you know, just just a consummate professional. So probably one of my Tina Marie shows, and I also like working with Nas. Nas, to me, as a fan, you really got to put the fan aside to get the numbers to work. And once you're on stage, I can be a fan again. But I always enjoy working with Nas. He always puts on a good show. But one show in particular, I don't know. That's a good one. I have to give that some serious thought. But
yeah, if you ever think about it, call back and let us know on an upcoming edition of this show. But yeah, definitely, I was wondering about that. The other thing I was curious about is when I've done shows just as a MC or even helping on planning committees. I've never had to like put in the money like you do with everything, but I have been on planning committees. I'm oftentimes amazed by the fans because oftentimes the fans will come up to you. Well, one, they want the freebies, and I know you get that all the time. They want you to hook them up because you're their buddy and you're their cousin or whatever. And sometimes you don't even know that you're related to them, but you mysteriously become a cousin. But the other thing is that I'm oftentimes amazed at the fact that a lot of times the fans don't understand the intricacies of the business. Because like I said, I've seen you at events. You've seen me at stuff. So we're always running around and everything. And a lot of times they'll ask you about an aspect of the show And we have no clue what they're talking about because we're running around trying to either pay the person, try to do this, try to do that, and they're over there talking about like a highlight of the show. They're talking about like, did you see so and so do such and such? And you're giving them a look like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have to go back and watch the video.
Exactly. Nope, I surely don't. So that's exactly the case because it's a business. It's a business, and people don't realize it. Like you said, people ask for free tickets and can I get the hookup? I'm like, Nas ain't giving me no hookup. I got to pay that man 6 figures. If you my family, you my friend, you should support me. And when I go to other businesses, especially black ones, I support them, with my pocket. But yeah, it's hard to watch a show. It gets so many moving pieces. You don't really get a chance to be a fan during the show that you actually produce. Because if you slip for 1 second, you can have people sneaking in for free. You can somebody could get hurt. You can go into overtime charges. You better keep your eye on the ball and focus because the margin in my business is just like any others. It's about 15-20%. So you got to protect it because if you lose, you can lose big. It can take you 10 shows to make up for 1 loss if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah.
So keep your eye on the prize. Don't people will spend your money like they don't care. They will steal from you. They will pour your liquor and hook their friends up and then want to get a check. So you got to watch everything. So and that's what we do.
Yeah, you have to be cautious. You have to keep an eye on everything. Now, one of the things I was just curious about, just checking it a little bit, but still staying in the entertainment game. But you just mentioned today you're calling us from Detroit. Your home base is Durham and everything. Now, to some degrees, these cities, even though Detroit's much bigger, but they do have some similarities. I mean, they both are primarily, if I remember correctly, my history of Detroit, African-American communities. They both have definitely historical communities. They both have ties to the music business. And, of course, there's definitely the whole thing with gentrification in both cities. So I was just wondering, what are some of the parallels, just as a citizen, that you have seen between your hometown growing up in the big city of Detroit and even the growing and developing city of Durham? So I was just wondering, what were some of the parallels that you've seen just in the two cities? And do you have a preference for either one? Or do you like being able to be, some people like to be bi-coastal. You're, well, you're not quite bi-coastal, but you definitely have dual cities.
Yeah. Good question. It is gentrification going on everywhere around the country right now. It's happening, and to me, it's our fault. We did not take the opportunities the way that we should have as a people. We didn't pool our money enough. We gave away the land for free. We had prime real estate, and then we moved out to the suburbs and left and let it go. And now somebody swooped it up, put a couple dollars into it, and quadrupling their money, raising the rent. It's tough, It's a tough call. So a lot of it is, I believe it's our fault, and we have to do better by pooling our resources, supporting each other financially, getting our education system and stuff together. Because the same thing that happened in Detroit, Detroit literally went bankrupt, and that's when I moved back to North Carolina. Tighten up our schools. Us as fathers have to go to parent-teacher conferences. My wife comes out of public education sector. I'm up there helping out. I'm seeing 5 fathers out of and 100 mothers. That just doesn't make sense. We have to take care of our own community better. And that's the same thing that happens a lot in Durham, unfortunately. Happening in Detroit, it's happening in Durham. So we got to pull up. We have to be responsible for ourselves and work with each other and do good business and not have the crab in the barrel mentality. And unfortunately, that's what happened to our community. And if we allow it, it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And Dean, who I work with, he can definitely relate to that as well. He's been involved. Dean, which organizations do you have there in New Jersey? Is the NAACP and is it the Urban League, or is it just the NAACP in addition to your Pratt work?
No, the NAACP.
All right. So, yeah, Dean's been working up there in New Jersey with the NAACP and trying to get them to do some positive thing. And he's also involved in the music business as well because for a number of years He's been part of the street team for what's that thing that Knights put together?